Alright, so this is from today. We BCA 101, and today is Monday 10/10/16, and we must be on day, I think, about 18. Alright, here's what we did. We did some work overview of the multimedia section, talked about some key things. We talked about completion of Unit 3, the different items in terms of completion. Oh, that could, if you go to the completion part, it tells you what to do. Key things to take care of: you have your outline to finish up, there is a discussion to do, and then there's an assessment to do. Okay, now also to do in that was a buy a laptop, and we did that together in class today, and you could do it in group or individually. Okay, so we did that. And then they worked on spreadsheet project. Okay, so we worked on spreadsheets groups. They had a group project, and the spreadsheet project, project number 3, that's due at the end of the week. Alright, so let's take a look at what we talked about today. We talked about multimedia, and today we talked about graphics, pictures, or images. First thing we mentioned was create graphics. You can create a chart compared to looking at numbers. You can look at numbers, but sometimes it's hard to get a good comparison from one number to another. So for example, you might create a pie chart, you might create some type of line graph, and then I gave the example back in England during World War II, Winston Churchill kept sending airplanes into Europe against Germany. Okay, kept sending them in, and they kept losing planes, and finally their military people said, if you look at this, if we keep going like we are, at this point right here, we will be out of planes. So then that's when he said, whoa, let's stop and do that differently. Sometimes it takes a chart to convince somebody of what's going on. Okay, so there's real value in representing numbers and charts, which we should know how to do before we're done with the unit. Digital images. Lots of different ways we can get digital images. You can take them with your camera. We can scan things in and get digital images. Very easy to store, very easy to take, and also very easy to edit and move from one location to another, make them available. Okay, and lots of different avenues. You can spend a lot of money for a good digital camera. Some video cameras will take digital shots. Most people's smartphones, or even phones that aren't smartphones, take pictures. And we talked a little bit about editing. So when you see a newspaper and you see a picture on there, is that the original picture? Or did somebody take a digital picture and edit it? How do you know? And can they? Can the paper take and make it a little more clear? Can the paper take, if they have somebody in the picture and they don't want them in the picture, can they just take them out and then still publish the picture? I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, we talked about the difference there, or some people still use, like in crime scenes, they'll use film so that they have the film, and it's really, it's hard to manipulate the film itself, and so that leaves a good trail for evidence, rather than digital evidence, which is much harder to secure and manage so that it doesn't get deleted or changed or lost. A couple important terms: raster graphics and vector graphics. Vector graphics you can scale. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, and it keeps its quality. Raster graphics are bitmap. They're a bunch of dots put together to make the picture. When you change the size of those, you lose the quality of the picture, especially if you make it bigger. Okay? This is done with some type of math and algorithm. An example: Adobe Illustrator creates vector graphics. Adobe Photoshop creates raster graphics. And you might have heard of Adobe and those products. Alright, next thing, we got a project. Actually doesn't occur until next year, but we're thinking about my kid's grandfather, actually my father-in-law, is having a sale in May. And we talked about all the different ways he can take his, he actually was with the U.S. Parks and Wildlife Service, so he has lots of traps and neat old things that have to do with horses and so forth, and hunting and trapping and firearms and lots of really cool things that he's going to sell a lot of it now, just because he doesn't need it and he doesn't use it, and he wants to sell it while he can still, I guess, use the money probably. So we talked about putting some of it on eBay, deciding what, some of it on Craigslist. We thought about, the students also said, couldn't we use social media to distribute it? And that was a great idea. Okay, I like that idea too. But initially what I'm thinking we might do is create a website for all the material and organize it well on a website so somebody could go to the website and see the material. It's expensive to advertise, and rather than try to list everything in an ad, you could organize the information with pictures on a website. We could get a domain name to allow people to access the website, and then we can create a QR code to make it easy to access that domain name via a QR code, quick reference. And then you could access it with your phone. We did an example of that today. We had a QR code, and the students accessed it, and it took them to MD Web, and it talked about text neck. Something happens if you're leaning over looking at your phone all the time. Alright, so that's it for today.